This is Louisville, and we're at the offices of Horse Racing Nation downtown. I'm Ron Flatter. We're at the home of the biggest horse race in America. And after a year when it, like everything else, was impacted by COVID, the Kentucky Derby is back to being on the first Saturday in May. The first day in May this year. It was only 8 months ago when Authentic won the Roses, and now we look for the full field in a matter of time. And in fact, we're going to go over the entire race here in the next few minutes. And Essential Quality is going to be the favorite for the Kentucky Derby this year. He is undefeated, 5 for 5, trying to maintain that record. Can he do it against 19 rivals? This is a lot of what we do on the Ron Flatter Racing Pod every week, and in the next hour, you're going to be hearing from some racing insiders and horse players. You're going to hear from the trainer and jockey who will try to keep Essential Quality as the undefeated horse that he is, and add the Roses to his collection of trophies. And we're going to hear the final fractions theory from the woman who authored it and why it has been a winning formula for 3 decades. We'll also be hearing from some other rival trainers, and we'll also hear from Mattress Mack. Oh yeah, you might have heard about this. He's going to make a $2 million wager on the Kentucky Derby. It may be the biggest in the history of the race. But let's go to a man first who has saddled 55 horses in the Derby. That's a record. He's going to saddle 4 more on Saturday. 2-time Derby-winning trainer Todd Pletcher. One of his horses is going to be Bourbonic with jockey Kendrick Carmouche. There'll be some history made there. He also has Dynamic One. He has the Florida Derby winner Known Agenda, and a long shot that raised some eyebrows in a training session recently.
People who know workouts far better than I, which is pretty much everyone on earth, suggesting Sainthood really looked good in his gallop the other day. Is that?
Yeah, he's doing as well as we could hope. He breezed head and head with Known Agenda, and he's an enthusiastic workhorse. Known Agenda is a workman-like workhorse, and so, like I told the Violas, coming in here, that Known Agenda I expected him to breeze well, but he's not going to do what Always Dreaming did and come in here and go in 59. That's not his makeup, but he's doing great, and I'm happy with him. I thought for him it was an excellent breeze. Sometimes, kind of everybody looks for that super fast work, right. And that sometimes there's good fast works and sometimes there's not. But a lot of it's about just staying consistent with what your horse normally does and showing they like the surface, and that's what we've seen so far.
So in that context, is it easy to overrate what Sainthood did? Underrate
I don't want to belittle anything he did, because he is doing well, and he's earned his way in, and he's training the way you'd want one to train. My biggest concern for him is just his lack of experience, having only had 3 starts. But I like the way he's doing.
What about Dynamic One? In terms of,
I thought he breezed great, which he always does. He's a excellent workhorse, and that's why we've been high on him since day one. And hopefully now he's going to start to fulfill our expectations.
And on Bourbonic, there's certainly the history part with Kendrick getting the ride. It's so rare that black jockeys get rides here in the Kentucky Derby. And I know that's not exactly what you're thinking about when you're saddling horses and everything, but have you thought about the significance of that at all when you've had?
No, for me, it's really about Kendrick getting an opportunity, and he's ridden terrifically here recently, and he's a guy that over the years has won a lot of races for us. I feel like he's taken his game to the next level, in the past year, and to me, it's really all about Kendrick's ascent to the top of the rider ranks. That's the story to me.
Yeah, what he did at Aqueduct this winter, certainly
phenomenal meet, and just carried over. He's got a very upbeat personality. He comes to the paddock, with a great attitude and gives you 110%. And so I'm happy for him to have the opportunity.
Bourbonic pull off a big surprise.
I tell you, the way he's galloped this morning, he's full of himself. He was a handful to pull up, so it looks like he's doing good.
One more note on Kendrick Carmouche. He will become only the 3rd black jockey in the last 101 runnings of the Kentucky Derby. This after 15 of the first 28 were won by black jockeys. This is the RFRP for TV, the Ron Flatter Racing Pod on VSiN, the sports betting network. And we are here at the offices of Horse Racing Nation in downtown Louisville to do what we do all the time on this podcast, which is normally in podcast form, and it's always sponsored by First Bet. If you're a horse racing fan, First Bet is the place for you. It offers races at more than 300 tracks and AI-assisted picks. First Bet, the easiest way to bet on your favorite sport, with secure payments, attractive and attentive customer service options, and of course, those AI-assisted picks at all of those tracks around the world and around the country. And a reliable website, all brought to you by ExpressBet. Visit vsin.com/horses right now to get a $20 free bet on the Kentucky Derby. Use the promo code VEGAS20. That's vsin.com/horses. Here in Louisville, the 147th running of the Kentucky Derby is set to be going just before 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Saturday. And we're hearing it's going to be good weather for the race itself, fast track as well, and with a big bet. Mattress Mack, Jim McIngvale, talks to us this hour about the $2 million wager he's going to be making on the Kentucky Derby. Before we get to him, though, and the rest of our guests, let's look at the field for the Run for the Roses. And when you take a look at the 20 horses, undefeated essential quality, number 14, 2-1 on the morning line, Mattress Mack is going to shorten those odds, no doubt about it. Essential Quality, ridden by Luis Saez, trained by Brad Cox. We'll hear from both of them this hour. Santa Anita Derby winner, Rock Your World, 5-1 on the morning line, which is an estimate, of how the odds will look at post time. And Florida Derby winner, Known Agenda, 6-1, but he's stuck in post 1, which has produced only one Derby winner since 1963. And Louisiana Derby winner, Hot Rod Charlie, 8-1 in post number 9. Highly motivated, a horse that came within a neck of defeating Essential Quality in the Bluegrass Stakes. Well, he is 10-1 in post 17. His trainer is Chad Brown, one of our guests this hour. Now, none of these horses has raced more than 1.25 miles. They'll be asked to do that for the first time in their careers when they've really never gone more than 1.125 miles, most of them. That extra 220 yards. How do we know how they will do? A longtime turf writer and publicist here in Louisville has answered that question with a resounding yes, we do know. She created the final fractions theory about 30 years ago to forecast how horses will do going that extra furlong. And that's not the only theory that she has for the Derby.
Can't come to Kentucky without talking to Jennie Rees, right? Is that basically we have to check in with you before we can?
Is that in the conditions of the Derby?
That's right.
3-year-olds and up.
3-year-olds
must have roses. Ron must talk to Jennie.
I got news for you though. I'm carrying more than 126.
Yeah, well, we all got the COVID-19, right?
You came up with a theory this week that I love so much. It's so John Madden-esque. You want to give your sawhorse theory?
Oh, it's called the paranoid stable theory, and the people that win the Derby usually are like very loose and relaxed.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Todd Pletcher, the years he won both, Baffert and Lucas every year, and I think that's one reason. I do think there's something there where people that start getting like the enormity of the situation is starting to weigh on them, and the sawhorses get farther and farther out, and the police tape is definitely a curse.
That's the curse.
And there is it maybe. These horses can sense that, sort of that nervousness and stuff, and they also sense the people that are relaxed. And I think that's why Doug O'Neill's won 2 Kentucky Derbies, besides having 2 awfully good horses.
Yeah.
And he's got a 3rd awfully good horse here this year. John Sadler's been, of course, they haven't been into town that long. Chad Brown, we go up to them.
Although Chad went sawhorse. Did you?
He
although
did,
it was like I moved the sawhorse at one point.
Yeah, I don't think it's not like sawhorses that just. I think they just needed a place to give their horses a bath. I don't think it was so much to. They haven't really moved out yet. Let's put it that way. So now my final fractions theory that you
knew I was going to bring this up. Let's go into the final fractions theory, and for the uninitiated, it goes back to a conversation you had with trainer Phil Thomas more than a quarter century ago.
Yeah. He just came up to me. You have to remember, this is before they were timing in hundreds. They were timing in fifths. Mm-hmm. And he said, I bet could you find out the last quarter mile of the last prep of all the Derby winners, or going back so far, he said, I bet it's been under 25 seconds. For 1.125 miles, you don't have a whatever that would be split.
Right, it would be, the splits are quarter, half, 3/4 mile, and mile and an eighth. So if you do the subtraction, you can't get a quarter mile back because you don't get a reading at 7/8.
Yes, exactly. So, but you can do 3/8 and an eighth mile. Anyways, there was a pattern, and that pattern was, now we do it in 0.0. It used to be in fifths, which drove me crazy calculating because I was having to borrowing and carrying from, elementary school math. The cutoffs are the last eighth mile in their final prep at a mile and an eighth, 13.0 or faster, and the last 3/8, 38.0 or faster. And the vast majority of the horses meet those parameters that go on and win. Yeah. This is not to say that a horse that doesn't meet that can't finish second or go on and win the Preakness. Right. But it just is proven, and when you think about it, it makes sense. It shows either horses that, will have a chance to go the extra eighth mile, which I call the longest eighth mile in racing, if they have it within them because they were coming home fast, so they got a chance to do it. They may not, but they got a chance. And also, some horses might be true mile and a quarter horses, but they might be over the top.
Right.
We don't see that as much because these horses are so lightly raced. But so that's what it is. When it started out, it was just people, did for the Courier Journal here, and this before the internet, before everybody used the internet. But locally, it had kind of a following. And then with social media and the internet, you've really taken it beyond. You've added different things to it.
And so, if you take that optic, it excludes half the field. Medina Spirit, for instance, does not qualify under this. Rock Your World qualifies under one condition, and everybody wants to jump and say, well, it's only one. I go, well, wait a minute. 27 of the last 31 winners, 27 of the last 30 May winners.
And that's what I'm throwing out. I know you were really calculating it still last year, but I'm even saying
which was a total waste of time.
That I was saying, because at that point, the whole thing is these horses haven't run a mile and a quarter before. But in September, some of them have, and it's just a whole different thing.
And they're 3.5 years old.
And they're 3.5 years old, right.
But 27 of the last 30 May Derby winners have qualified under this standard, one or the other, either the sub-13 or the sub-38.
I think 22 of them were both, and 4 were one or the other. And personally, I prefer if you have only one or the other to be the last 3/8. The thinking being, if a horse is way in front with an eighth mile to go, the jock might wrap up.
That's right. And that's the other thing you hear. Critics will say, well, this doesn't take into account what happens if a horse wraps up a sure winner. And I'm like, well, it doesn't, but go back to the stat. It's still
exactly.
History is history. You can't deny that.
That's right. And we don't care about the final time of the race. That's another interesting thing about it.
Especially don't care.
Yeah. And some people say, well, and people that have, that's fine if people, want to not agree with it or explain why it's,
sure.
But you know what? If you come up with your own theory, like you said, even though there's flaws with this, we're assuming that the TrackMan's interior calls are accurate, and also. And you extrapolate for the mile 16th, mile 3/16, and you admit that could be a little risky.
It's very shaky.
Yeah. But and we just don't have a lot of data with those races. We don't really have a true mile 3/16 Louisiana Derby until this year.
Right. Correct.
But it still holds up even with these flaws. And like I said, part of it is identifying horses to throw out, like Arkansas Derby winner. The final fractions theory would take a stand against. Super stock. That's not to say he can't be second. That's not to say he can't win the Preakness. And there have been 4 horses that didn't qualify.
Correct.
Silver Charm being one who pressed a very fast pace and was still around at the end and narrowly got beaten San Diego Derby in '97. Animal Kingdom Synthetic, which is weird because you think usually like the sort of grass style type horse or something, you think that they're going to finish fast, but whatever. And then you had Charismatic. And no, Charismatic did qualify from the San Diego Derby. Yeah. Well, then I know the one is that blew everybody except as everybody said, that blew everybody's theory out of the water except the high altitude from New Mexico theory.
I didn't know that was a theory.
Oh yeah. After the fact, he'd been training in New Mexico. That high altitude.
Up is Oaklawn? I know that's not as high up.
No, he wasn't.
I'm saying, but would horses? Can you use that theory for Oaklawn horses? That's what I'm wondering.
I don't think. Here's the thing about the Arkansas Derby. Usually, it seems like many years. All those finishing times are really fast to where some people say, well, it goes downhill a little bit. And other people just
which is true. It is. It does. You can see it when you go to the back.
Yeah, Gary West says that's not true. So I don't know if it's true or not.
Bruno DiGiulio says it is. Should we put them in a fight?
Yeah. But anyways, regardless, fast times. So the fact that this wasn't, it's another little cause for pause with.
Now, I added 2 optics to try to narrow it down because you only narrow down to about a half. And I think trainers know when they're sending horses to the Derby. I think they're paying attention to this a little bit, that they're not going to send a horse to the Derby that doesn't finish well. So I've added the minimum daily racing form buyer speed figure, 95 or more at some point in their career. Briz speed rating, 100 or more at some time in their career.
Speed rating, yeah.
So that brings us down to 4. That brings you to Essential Quality, Rock Your World, Hot Rod Charlie, and Highly Motivated. And that's, now if you can get it down to 4, and if you believe in what you're standing on, that's not a bad place to start if you're trying to handicap the race.
No, and that's one thing I'm having, I'm trying to do some handicapping is I've been looking at that because I've been shamelessly stealing your numbers, and you kindly give me the PDF of them.
I'm stealing Andy Byers' numbers. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, but you put this theory, together, so I'm looking at this horse and, I don't see Midnight Bourbon in there, and that's a horse I've been got an eye on.
Yeah, I'm reluctant to drop him too, yeah.
Yeah, because he qualified. The Louisiana Derby, they came home fast
They sure
at a mile
did.
3/16.
Sure
Again, it was
did.
your extrapolated figures, but still, I think
But
just
still,
looking
to
at
come
it.
home that fast at the end of a longer
Yeah,
race
yes,
makes you
exactly.
look at it.
Oh, no,
Which is the whole
absolutely.
point of this.
Yeah, and so I'm sort of all over the map.
I was
But
just going to ask you, have you arrived at a horse on your win ticket?
Well, sometimes I think that, I tried to get just American Pharaoh beat. You just got to look at what
Me
you
too.
see, and how do you fault Essential Quality, who came home fast in the 36. He came home faster than anybody.
12 flat and 36
And maybe
change,
the
yeah.
way to look at that is maybe you need to be looking at Highly Motivated, not as a
agree.
knock that maybe it's a credit to Highly Motivated.
My problem with Highly Motivated, in part, when Caddo River came out of the race, it
The pace, I agree
maybe
with you.
he has to do some of the heavy lifting, which Chad
He did.
references in our podcast today, that if he doesn't have to be on the pace, it might set up for him better. And if he has to do the work like he did in Arkansas, then that might
But
be a problem.
I think, isn't he post? He's got an outside post, right?
I believe so. People listening right now can scream it at us, so we don't have it in
I know.
front of
We
us.
were saying before we started recording, I wish I had the
Where's
passport.
the PPs, yeah.
But I was thinking about that, looking at it, because.
Oh, yes, he has the outermost post of any of the horses that could come into the speed
And
picture,
I think
yes.
so. I think that helps him
That does
because
help him, yes.
you've got Hot Rod Charlie, for instance, down the side. So I think that's now there are horses in here, 3 of Todd Pletcher's 4 that have really improved their form once they added blinkers. But I don't see anybody. The only equipment change is blinkers off on Keep Me in Mind.
Right.
There's no
but
blinkers
known
on,
agenda,
so.
good point on known agenda, adding blinkers. We talked to Todd about that as well. Is that the reason for the change, or did the circumstances of the fields and the way the races were run really dictate how he was able to win the last 2?
I think I'm trying to remember because I asked Todd about all 3 of his horses that added blinkers in their form improved. Part of it, I think, is going long. Part of it's just maturity and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what the rail does for known agenda. But I was talking to Todd this morning, and I said, do you think it makes a big difference, the new 20-horse starting gate, which, of course, they debuted last year
Right.
and only had 15 horses.
He gets
And
15,
he said, yeah.
you get 15
He
more
says-
feet.
He said 12, but
Was it 12?
yeah, that's what he said. And you're very accurate, but I always have to go with what Todd is. I think
I would lean on
religiously
him more than
accurate,
me. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that comes into play for the
Yeah.
first time, the first real fair
First
test,
real time,
first
yeah.
real fair test for Lhasa. First, we're going to find out about Lasix. You cannot handicap the fact these horses are all off Lasix. And you can say, yeah, well, they've been running a lot of them all year without it. But, you just don't know when's the race that the stress might catch up with the horse, and there might be. And you don't necessarily see it. They go back to the barns and people say, ooh.
Yeah, the no Lasix. I wonder if that isn't one factor, and I've talked to some people on background, as to why 11 horses that could have been in the Derby, their connection said no.
I bet part of it is probably that. Maybe some of them had some, little trickle or something. But it also could be some people have learned about the $50,000 saddle towel, which is what I call it for the people. But $50,000 to run in the Derby, and when it's said and done, all they have is a hot and dirty horse and the commemorative saddle
The
towel.
day glow green saddle towel.
I love those day glow green ones.
They're
'cause
easy
you
to
can
spot
really,
when you're photographing. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so I can't pin you down to one horse yet, right?
Right.
Oh, okay. All right. Will there be a place where we can find you pinned down to one horse between now and post time, almost 7 o'clock Eastern time Saturday?
I'll tweet it out and tag you.
at Trackside Jennie if you want to
With
be
an
there
IE.
before the tag. IE, that's right. There's an IE in Jennie. I'll let you figure out where it is. And great to see you as always here. I know we run
Now
into each
you're
other.
Louisvillian, though.
That's right.
I'm going to see you all the time now.
It's Louisville.
I'm more Louisville, but people think I'm saying it wrong. They go Louisville. It really, I think, just the, yeah.
That was a debate on the podcast a couple weeks ago between two people one who was born here and one who's lived here a long, long time.
Yeah, I think it's just,
Kentuckian.
it's Kentuckian. Yeah, it can be, yeah, I think people tell me I pronounce it wrong.
All right. But we know how to pronounce Jennie Rees, and you know how to spell Trackside Jennie with an IE at the end. Look for her pic on Twitter. And thanks so much, as always,
it's
for your
been fun.
friendship and here on the Ron Flatter Racing Pod.
Well, my pleasure. Let's try to make some money. How about this weekend?
That sounds like a plan. And 45,000 people will be betting at the windows at Churchill Downs, down from the usual 145,000 or so. Coming up, let's meet the trainer of the undefeated Essential Quality. Brad Cox actually has 2 horses in the Kentucky Derby. We'll talk to him next as this special edition of the Ron Flatter Racing Pod, the RFRP for TV, continues here on VSiN. Here on VSiN, this is the RFRP on TV, a special edition of the Ron Flatter Racing Pod, and we are previewing this weekend's Kentucky Derby. Undefeated Essential Quality is the favorite. A first-time Derby trainer looks after him. Let's go to the barns at Churchill Downs and check in with Brad Cox. Brad, here you are, a guy who's from this town, and you finally have a Derby horse, and you have the favorite. It's like going from 0 to 60 in however many seconds, right?
Yeah, no, we're fortunate to be in this position. We have very good horses that have earned the right. Obviously they've accumulated enough points over the winter to, be eligible, and I feel like we're in a great position. And yeah, like you said, it's our first opportunity at the Derby, and once again, very thankful we have live shots.
Let me take Essential Quality first, obviously being the favorite. A few impressions I've had watching him over time, and I have to give credit to Bruno DiGiulio and his Zoom classes and we watched his races over and over again. His first race, where he's in traffic, and it's almost like he says, get the hell out of my way in the stretch, and that had to have shown you something in a maiden win like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he showed us a lot of the mornings prior to that race to give us the confidence, and obviously, we thought he was a good colt. He showed up and, probably did more in his first race than we even expected. Like you said, being able to overcome some traffic issues and run away from the field late, and, thankful that he was able to win first time. That gave us the opportunity to march forward to the Breeders' Futurity and an opportunity at Grade 1 early in his career.
That second race, too, where he was kind of held back. You go to the first turn and almost took it upon himself to get out a little bit wider, a little bit forward. It's almost like he said, I kind of know what I'm doing here. In only his second race.
Yeah, I thought that, Louis had never been on him. Give Louis the call there in the Breeders' Futurity. And, I think the first turn may have snuck up on him a little bit. That's one reason why he was I wouldn't say you had trouble negotiating the turn, but, he didn't obviously have as far run to the first turn as he did in his first race, going 3/4. So, but he adapted well. He was able to, settle off another horse. Louis was able to get him forwardly placed enough and showed enough speed to be involved. Set off another horse and kicked on down the lane. And I think one of the most impressive things, which you probably wouldn't see on video, was he galloped all the way back around to like the 4.5, and the Outriders had to pull him up, and Louis come back and said, this horse is a monster. He said he never gets tired, and I said, no, that's kind of the way he is in the morning. So, He was able to knock that grade 1 off early in the year, and it was huge.
Is he one of the smartest, if not the smartest, horses you've ever had?
He's very intelligent. I mean, I'm not going to say he's the smartest, but he's very, very intelligent horse. That's one thing that my exercise riders have noticed, and I've noticed just watching him walk around the shed and walking in the stall 2 or 3 times a day. Very, very smart horse.
Mandaloun, a little bit of a question mark because of his last race, but has, of course, a graded stakes win to his credit. I have a 110-1 ticket on him in the futures. So what do you make of him coming in off of an effort that you probably wish had been better?
Don't throw your ticket away. That's what I can tell you.
Okay.
He's a good horse. He had done everything right. He had kept taking steps forward from the start of his career up through the Risen Star. We added the blinkers in the Risen Star. We thought it was was something to get him over the, propel him forward, and it did. He was training extremely well leading up to the Louisiana Derby, and we thought, if he runs the way he's training, he'll win. I thought the figures may look like, if he runs his race, he'll win. He didn't run his race. We didn't have a physical reason. We didn't find a physical reason afterwards to, blame for the dull effort. We've just regrouped and continued to train forward, and he's trained just as well as he has leading up to the Louisiana Derby and the Risen Star and in the Lecomte. So, we're hopeful that was just a one-race fluke, and you can draw. So, we always use the cliche, you draw a line through it, and that's when we're going to draw a line through. He's happy, he's healthy. I think anyone that saw his work here last Saturday knows that he's doing well. I mean, when you breeze 3 quarters at Churchill and 11 and change, you're on it, and he's on it, and he bounced out of it in great order. So, I'm hopeful that he'll get his form turned around.
Would you consider taking the blinkers back off, or is that the kind of thing you would not do the on-off thing?
No, not right now. No, we're going to leave him on him. He seems to be a little better in them. So, I think he's, and he's another horse that, didn't take any dirt in his 3 races at the fairgrounds. He had that nice little 3-wide tracking trip in all 3 races. One of them, it didn't work out. We added the blinkers. It did work out. And then the last one, it just, left the races that day scratching our head.
Brad Cox, best wishes to you. It's amazing that in a century and a half, there's never been a Louisville native to train a Kentucky Derby winner. You could be the one.
Yeah, hopefully 147. That'll all be history. So that's what I'm hopeful it'll happen.
Well, thanks for inviting us into your barn here on the Ron Flatter Racing Pod.
Thanks, Ron.
Next, Essential Quality's jockey and a trainer who will try to spoil their party. Mattress Mack and his big bet are also coming up. All ahead as we continue from Louisville here on VSiN. From Louisville, this is a special edition of the Ron Flatter Racing Pod, the RFRP for TV on VSiN, the sports betting network. 2 years ago, Luis Saez's victory in the Kentucky Derby was overturned when he and Maximum Security were disqualified for interference. Luis gets another chance as he rides the favorite, Essential Quality, who he rode for the first time last fall at Keeneland.
I want to take you back to your first ride on him at Keeneland in the Breeders' Futurity. As he was going into the first turn, it looked like you were trying to position him, and then it was almost like he said, I know what you want to do. I know you want to take me up to the outside and kind of hunt the pace a little bit. At that point, I felt like, man, are you on a smart horse? Do you feel the same way?
The same way. He's a very smart horse. He know what he's doing, and I always when I ride him, I know in the top of the straight he gonna give me that kick. So every time I be riding, he getting better and better. So I'm so impressed with that horse, and I can't wait to be here in the Derby Saturday.
You needed those last 4 strides in the bluegrass, though, to get that victory. How much horse did you know you had? Were you wondering if you were going to get there at the end against highly motivated?
Yeah, every race that you ride is pretty tough to win. So that day, the main thing was try to not get too much from him. So we was very confident. We went in the pace very slow. I think hard to motivate. He was pretty easy. So in the top of the straight, he responded pretty well. But Essential Quality, I know in the top of the straight, he's gonna give me that kick. So everything came like we planned.
The Derby, though, does that cause you any extra concern, especially in a 20-horse field?
Yeah, you know, the Kentucky Derby, I've been riding the Derby for a couple years, and the Derby is very tough race. I hope that they get a good position and break from there running. That's the main thing. Break running and find a good spot and see how he. The main thing with him is try to relax. No matter where he are, relax, because I know on the top of the straight he's gonna give me that fight. You know.
8 Grade 1 winners last year. I mean, that, you know, it just seems like every year gets better and better and better and better for you. You've got this reputation of a guy who's going to do everything you need to do to win, and I know some people will sit there and go, well, maybe he does a little too much. What do you think about the talk about you as your reputation and your wins continue to pile up?
Yeah, you know what? When people start talking that kind of stuff, I don't really pay attention. I just am focused on what I'm doing, and of course, giving thanks to God that we're here and safe, and we just love to ride horses. So I'm giving a lot of credit to my agent, Kiara McLaughlin, because he gave me, you know, he been working pretty hard, and he put me in a horses that I think I never could have ride. So I'm so glad and I'm so blessed.
I know him so well as having been a trainer. How is he as an agent?
Oh my God, he's one of the best person they can be in this world.
I can't let you go without asking you about Gulfstream Park West, which you knew as Calder when you came here to the U.S. from Panama. And that track having closed down, you won 4 riding titles there. Is there a spot in your heart that goes, that's just, it skips a beat a little bit because you know that track is no longer going to be there?
Yeah, definitely. They broke my heart when I hear that day. There was the last time they've been running this year. So I was, you know, I always had good remind over there. That was the first play I came, and I really rode my first horses. So I'm sad, but you know, I had good reminds with that play. So.
Well, you might have a really good reminder of what Churchill Downs is all about after Oaks and Derby days. So, Luis Saez, thanks so much for your time. Best wishes, safe rides, and thanks for your time on the Ron Flatter Racing Pod.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
From Luis Saez now to someone whose horse came within a neck of beating Essential Quality in the Bluegrass Stakes. 4-time Eclipse Award-winning trainer, Chad Brown.
Highly motivated, and that stretch duel with Essential Quality certainly burnished his image as a contender for this race. But you had to know, just especially the way this horse does in Kentucky particularly, that this is a guy who's going to have to be a load to deal with in the Derby, right?
I would hope to think so. You know, like you said, his two races at Keeneland are really outstanding, both races. And he did run a terrific race in the Bluegrass, coming up just short to the Derby favorite. So I think it gives him a good shot in the Derby, you know, moving forward. When you start to look at the field, I'd say he'd be one of the main contenders. And of course, he's got to get an extra 1/8 of a mile. It's a question mark. And, you know, I feel he can do it, especially if he's not on the lead and doing all the work. I think he's got a better chance to get that 1.25 mile distance. You know, he's one of the better horses that we've brought to the Derby up to this point. So we're really excited about it.
One of the templates for gauging whether a horse can get 1.25 miles is how fast they went the last 1/8 of a mile, 3/8 of a mile in their final prep. And you look at that race, and Essential Quality, highly motivated. I mean, really check those boxes. So you've got to be really confident just based on what you saw coming out of that, if you just look at those numbers on closing fractions.
Yeah, I appreciate that information. Yeah, I saw that as well, and I think it's a astute observation on your part. And
it's actually Jennie Rees's part,
okay,
to be honest with you.
All right, well, thank you. Well, it was nice to see. I'll say this horse come home, you know, that last quarter of the way he did in a 1.8 mile race, his first time around 2 turns, and quite a relief. And it gives us, you know, a lot of confidence that this horse is not going to have a problem getting 1.25 miles. I think it's an excellent point you bring up.
It almost feels like it raised your eyebrows too.
It did. It's one of those things where, you know, as a trainer, for as much experience as you may have, there are certain things with horses, you can get them to a point where they have to show you.
Yeah.
You may have a very good idea of the outcome. They have to do it. And we're not always right. And if any trainer tells you they are, they're not telling you the truth. Now, you know, I feel like, you know, I have a lot of experience. Me and my team have a lot of experience. And you learn more every day that you're doing this. And so we had a lot of confidence. But you don't know for sure until you see it. And it was quite a relief, but I'm not surprised that he did that. I'm not surprised he came home that last quarter in that time, but it was quite a relief to see it.
I have to ask you about your Twitter account and just the mood that you convey on there. It's so fun. Do you feel like that's just sort of an outlet for you that you haven't been able to find?
Is it refreshing?
Is it refreshing?
Okay.
Are you always hearing
seriousness, that? As I get a little older, Ron, I'll say that it was time to, go on social media and, occasionally shake things up a little bit. I try to be, respectful but funny and sharp-witted and such. But it's one of those things where it's a tough game. And, there's a lot of serious moments in it. So hopefully, it's a nice balance between connecting with the fans with some, sometimes important news or messages, and also once in a while some humor.
Well done. Chad, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
That Twitter handle, by the way, The Real Chad CBR1. Coming up, Mattress Mack and that $2 million bet. All ahead as we preview the Kentucky Derby from Louisville on VSiN. This is a preview of the Kentucky Derby. Coming your way from VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm Ron Flatter here at the offices of Horse Racing Nation in downtown Louisville. How about Mattress Mack, Jim McIngvale? We know he owns gallery furniture. We know he owns racehorses. We know he makes big bets. We know he's about to do that for the Kentucky Derby.
He is Mattress Mack, and he is in Houston at headquarters, but we know that here in Louisville, this will be the nerve center of horse racing in just a matter of days or hours, or depending on when you're actually consuming this. Jim McIngvale, who we know also from Run Happy, who owns that sire, and so we've certainly been very familiar with him. But $2 million that you're going to put on Essential Quality. Have you figured out how you're going to play the $2 million? Is it going to be a straight win ticket, or are you going to get a little bit creative with it?
Ron, I think it's going to be a straight win ticket, but I may bet some exactas as well, some high dollar exactas, obviously wheeling Essential Quality. So it should be an exciting day in Louisville at the wonderful Kentucky Derby. I can't wait to get to Louisville and watch Essential Quality, hopefully win lots of free matches for these customers.
Okay, so let me at least clue everyone in on that, because certainly you've taken the time to be with us. I want to at least give you the stage to offer what gallery furniture will be doing. If you buy, what is it, a $3,000 mattress, and if Essential Quality wins, you get the refund on the mattress, right?
Right. If you buy a mattress, $3,000 or better, have it delivered before the Kentucky Derby. If Essential Quality wins on Saturday, then your mattress purchase is 100% refunded, or you get 150% back in in-store credit. So it's a great deal, and 6 out of the last 7 Kentucky Derbies conducted on the first Saturday in May have been won by the favorite. So based upon that statistic, 84% chance of getting your money back and getting a great night's sleep free.
Yeah, I like it. You ought to be in this sales business a little bit there, Mac. I mean, that's
a born pitch man. That's right.
Let me ask you this. When and where will you place the bet? Because I know a lot of us who watch the tote board will be eager to see that thing go from like 5 to 2 to 1 to 5.
That's the big question. A lot of people have told me I should bet Friday. I won't be there, but I got people that'll be there. I might bet $1 million on Friday and then bleed it in Saturday. I might wait Saturday till a couple hours before the race and bet it all. So I'm still strategizing on that. Obviously, it's going to affect the pool, but you want to do it early enough to where there's some value on the other horses for the other bettors. So the whole idea is to get a big value on the other horses and get some action on them as well.
Will you make it a photo op so that we will know when that transaction takes place so we can turn around and look at the tote board?
Should be, yeah. Should be a photo op. And I'm wiring $4 million to Churchill now, so I may go more than $2 million, but right now $2 million is the desired number.
To that end, I mean, as a guy who's been known to make a big bet or two, will you hedge against this bet as you watch the tote board, or even for that matter, futures in Las Vegas?
No, I all the money I'm betting on this race will be bet at Churchill Downs. I'm a Kentucky horseman, and I really admire the fact that Churchill Downs does so much for horse racing and then reinvest the money in the purses for the horsemen like myself and for all the great horsemen in Kentucky who invest so much time, effort, and energy into this game. So all the money I bet will be at Churchill Downs, and I may do some wild exactas and trifectas and superfectas, but essential quality be the key on all of them.
Okay, and that was where I was going to go next, because will you go vertically? Will you be looking to bet deep in, like you said, tries and supers? Will you look at the tote board to give you an indication, or are you going to start looking on the form and maybe start looking at the horses themselves? What's your strategy in terms of putting together vertical, or for that matter, multi-race bets?
Well, I've got some people that know a lot more about gambling than I do that are helping me on this. I'm a promoter, and I've promoted this mattress promotion. It's gone very well. The Kentucky Derby is an iconic event in this country, so everybody knows about it, and it's helped the promotion. And then I'll get with these professionals to show me how to do the exacta, try, superfecta, depending on how much money's in the pool, like what's happening and what's the best value, underneath essential quality.
Mac, you'll stay away from me if you're looking for experts. My return on investment rate is not good even when I win. So I think I might be following you around a little bit. Why essential quality? Is it simply because he's the favorite, or did he catch your eye for other reasons?
Well, the promotion is if the favorite wins the Kentucky Derby, and
okay,
obviously 4 or 5 weeks ago when he won the Bluegrass, he's been favorite, especially after some of the other horses dropped out. So essential quality, I think, will be a pretty solid favorite, and all of our money is going on the favorite, because the favorite wins, then we can get all those free matches for all of our customers.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, when you talk about the favorite. I mean, in a sport like this, the favorite can still get you a decent price versus when you're going, let's say, the cap on your head in a team sport like the Houston Astros, or for that matter, in any other, two-choice event. Are you someone who's not afraid to play the chalk in horse racing?
I like to play long shots, and I'm obviously playing chalk in this one. I was talking to one of my gambler friends yesterday, and he was bemoaning the fact I was probably only going to get 2-1 on essential quality. And I said, that's better than the Houston Astros in Game 7 of the World Series, minus
right.
150.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, too, I mean, how much horse playing do you do as somebody who's a horse owner, too?
I bet on my own horses a lot, so I back my own horses. And somebody asked me yesterday, was I nervous when I made a $3.6 million bet on the Super Bowl, took Tampa Bay. Was I nervous? I'm more nervous watching one of my horses run than sweating one of these bets.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because your heart's more in it than just your wallet at that point, isn't it?
Exactly right. And I'll be in Lexington tomorrow morning watching my horses train before I come to Louisville. So should be a good horse field day, and hopefully essential quality will cross the line first at Churchill Downs.
Are you someone who's active when it comes to sales and when it comes to the breeding of your horses?
Yeah, I have about 56 thoroughbreds right now. So we just bought one in Ocala a couple of weeks ago, a Run Happy filly, and we're very active in the sales. We're active in breeding. We're active in Run Happy stands at Claiborne, so they've done a great job helping promote him. So I'm very active in the game. Also, Run Happy is a big sponsor of a lot of horse races, and Run Happy is very active on the TBG and Naira telecast. So we're very involved in the game, and this is another way to promote horse racing.
Speaking of Run Happy and the way he did go about his campaigning as a Breeders' Cup winner, no Lasix, no medication. This Kentucky Derby will be the first in more than 40 years, I think it is, that will be Lasix free. What are your thoughts about that?
I think it's great. I think the more transparency horse racing can have, the more people know that these horses are running clean, these wonderful, beautiful animals let them run on their own. I think it's better. When these trainers get 30 and 40% win rates out of nowhere, it's not good. Light helps everything. We need to shine light on horse racing, that beautiful sport, and run it without Lasix, without Butte, without all these drugs that create artificial results. So hay, oats, and water, and Run Happy, that's what I'm promoting.
Yeah, hay, oats, and water. Those are the magic words indeed along that line. And how has the Run Happy promotion gone for you, both from the standpoint of the brand, but also in terms of your expectations for his work as a sire?
The brand is great. Run Happy's very much branded in the horse racing business. his sire career. He got off to a very slow start. The 2-year-olds didn't do as well as we expected, but the 3-year-olds are coming on strong. In fact, Happy American just won a maiden race at Churchill yesterday, 115,000 on a 1.25 mile test. So he's coming very strong right now, and the Run Happy rally continues. And I'm a total optimist, and when they knock me down, I get back up, and Run Happy's still running.
Around the Run Happy rally. I like it. So you will arrive in Louisville on Friday, right? Do I have that right?
No, I'll arrive in Lexington late Friday night, early Saturday morning. I'll go watch my horses work out early, and I'll be in Louisville about 11 o'clock.
Got it. Okay, so Kentucky Friday, and then on to Louisville, and then we're going to follow you around and watch when you're going to go ahead and sign the big bet slip, right?
Watch my exploits. Hopefully, I'll get a ticket that says $2 million to win on, and hopefully that horse will win.
Have you been in contact with the Godolphin folks or Brad Cox, the trainer, to find out, will they let you come around the winner's circle? Because you might be a good luck charm.
No, they've worked very hard for years to try to get the winner's circle. I'll stay out of that. But I do know Jimmy Bell very well, and I wish him all the best. He's a great representative of horse racing, and Jimmy and the Godolphin team have put a lot of money into the game, so I wish him all the best.
Yeah, no, I saw Jimmy just the other day over near Brad's barn, and we had a nice chat with him, and it's always good to see him. And it's great to see you. I wish you the best of luck. Man, I'm telling you, I don't know how many people wish you luck when you're throwing the kind of zeros around that you are. It's I don't know how much we have to do to add to the confidence you have, but I'm certainly going to wish it. But Jim McIngvale, Mattress Mack, and again, $3,000 mattress gallery furniture. And if Essential Quality wins, you get your money back. That's the exclamation point, right?
It'll be an exciting Saturday at Churchill Downs. I hope to see Essential Quality and my friend Jimmy Bell in the winner's circle. That'll make it an even better day.
Thanks for being with me on the Ron Flatter Racing Pod.
Thanks, Rod. Great talk to you.
All right, so how about the rest of us who may have something shy of $2 million? Well, that's where First Bet comes in. It's the place for you. Offering races at more than 300 tracks and AI-assisted picks, First Bet is the easiest way to bet on your favorite sport. Secure payments, attentive and attractive customer service, and a reliable website. That's attractive too. All brought to you by ExpressBet. Visit VSiN.com/horses right now to get a $20 free bet on the Kentucky Derby. Use the promo code VEGAS20. That's VSiN.com/horses. Well, here's how I see the Derby unfolding. Medina Spirit, Midnight Bourbon, Rock Your World, Highly Motivated. One of those four will be on the lead. All four probably going to be forward early in the race. The favorite, Essential Quality, will be chasing them close. Figures to be right there throughout, and I think he's going to win the race. I hate to pick chalk. If you know me, I'm not a chalk player, but he's the guy. And I think Highly Motivated, as long as he doesn't have to do the heavy lifting of leading the race like he did in the Bluegrass, I think he's right there with Essential Quality. Could steal it. I think that's your exacta. Now, who could break up the exacta? My long shot play, well, it won't be, it could be Hot Rod Charlie, could be Rock Your World. They're not long shots, though. The long shot, Sainthood. My friend Bruno DiGiulio, who is the best workout analyst in the country, pointed out to me that Sainthood outworked his stablemate, Known Agenda, the other day. So with that in mind, I'm going to look for him to maybe crash the party, and I'll throw a couple bucks maybe deep in exotics on Obesos. So that's how we do this. Check out 2 episodes this week of the Ron Flatter Racing Pod. A deep handicapper's dive into the Kentucky Derby with Chris Andrews, Johnny Avello, and Dwayne Colucci, and our regular episode with the full-length versions of the interviews you heard in this past hour. Go to vsin.com/podcasts. I'm Ron Flatter. Let's go make some money.